really serious about fostering creative, healthy, dynamic learning organizations that really draw on the unique capacities of the individuals and groups within them, then I think we need to really challenge ourselves to think and act continually from a strength-based perspective. So what does that mean? Well, we need to ask ourselves questions like, what are the amazing possibilities we want to achieve in our organization? How are we going to make that happen? Or what's the magic we want to realize? How are we going to accomplish that? Unfortunately, many of our organizations tend to get a little bit stuck, don't they, in a more deficit approach to thinking and learning. And they start from the idea that the more successfully that they can identify the problems through the organization, the more successfully they can put in place strategies to solve those problems. Many of us know organizational structures and practices that use this approach. What are the problems to be solved? How are we going to solve them? I don't think I'll be betraying too much of a secret if I tell you that in this age of complexity that we live in, if we want to focus people on identifying problems, there'll actually be no shortage of them. In my experience, what tends to happen when you go through a process like this is that the whiteboard or the blackboard that you're working with is pretty soon disappears behind the deluge of issues that are identified. And quite honestly, the people in the room are left pretty well despondent and a little bit depressed because they know that the next stage, which is the development of the plan to solve those problems, is going to define for them how they're not going to have very much free time over the next year or two. Gone is the March break trip to Jamaica. Problem solving is a part of life, isn't it? But what we can do and what we need to do is to flip our perspective from a deficit perspective to a more strength-based perspective. Don't focus on what you don't have in the organization or what you need. Focus on the realities of what you have, the magic that you've already got, and how you can use that to grow the organization in a very positive way. So the question once again becomes, what are the amazing possibilities we want to achieve? How are we going to make that happen? Not can we make that happen, how are we going to make that happen? I think this accomplishes a couple of things. Number one, it flips the mindset of the organization from a negative one to a more positive one, and that in itself is a huge step. It becomes a journey into possibility. And this fosters a culture of positive thinking and learning that empowers individuals, groups, organizations to make this a practice. And I mean that as a verb. It's a cultural shift that has to happen, has to occur over and over and over again in order for it to become innate, instinctive, part of the fabric of the organization.